Okay, here we go. Continuing with the 2021 beginning of the year tech updates. Going right into Google Classroom. So when we look at Google Classroom, you will see all of your Google Classroom classes. If you don't have any, you're going to go up to this little plus button and you're going to click Create a Class. If you do not have Create a Class, that means you're in the wrong subdivision, or not subdivision, good golly, subgroup. So you are in a student subgroup instead of a teacher subgroup. So if that does not ever say create class, then we need to put in a help desk ticket and get you moved over. Okay? And it does happen. All right, so this is your dashboard here. You can move all of your classes around to put them in any order that you want to. Once you get into and create a class, you can create a class. And this is nice because it's linking your class to your SIS system. So as you go through and you click one of these, you'll actually be in and you'll have it link up and then your student should show up. Okay. Now, if I go back into my test class and if I take a look at what I'm talking about here, we have the Google Meet, the unique link. So what that is right here. This is your Meet link and this is your I to turn it on or off. You can't do that in the heading though. You have to go to the gear and then you turn it on and off here. So what I can do is right here, I can turn that Meet link on and I can turn it off. Now that is unique to this class. So as a teacher, in order for students not to get back in, especially at the junior high level, you need to wait and make sure that the kids are out of the meeting and then you can log off or log out of Meet and then come in and turn off the Meet. They cannot start meetings, so that's a big issue. At the high school, we have allowed them to start meetings and collaborate and different things like that. So that's a totally different story. So they would, if you don't want them in your Google Classroom, then you can turn it off and they can create their own Meet. Or if you want to be in the Google Classroom link for them to collaborate, then you can jump in there anytime. That's fine as well. All right, so this is also where you have your grades and your meeting invitation codes. So if you've got your link invite there, you can actually take a look at the actual code here. So you can display the code really big for your class if you're talking to them in live, on a live Meet, that kind of thing. Now there are some updates that are happening with Google Meet, but those are not happening until late September. And so we're not going to talk about some of that stuff until it actually happens and we've had time to test it. Okay, so now that we have taken a look at that, a couple of things that I want to kind of go over here is rubrics and creating rubrics. So when you go into the classwork page, because the stream page obviously is just a stream. It kind of reminds me of your Facebook post or your Instagram. It just keeps coming down. But your classwork page is where you can actually start to kind of organize your stream. So there's a couple new things that happened last year that we didn't really talk about because of the pandemic and COVID and everything. But you do have a rubric criteria now that you can actually create a rubric in there and you can put in the information that you want to in here and you can reuse these. So that's kind of nice. You also have the quizzes form as question bank. So when I go in here and I hit create and I want to do a quiz assignment, what that does is it says I'm creating a quiz and I can do a blank quiz. I can make sure it's locked on Chromebooks mode, but I don't have to necessarily do that right now. I can wait and I can go into the blank quiz and I can do the questions. So that's kind of nice. So when I go in here and I want to add questions, if I add questions if I import questions, I can import questions from other Google Forms now. So if I have a blank quiz or I have something that I want to take a look at, then I can pull that quiz up and I can pull from the questions from that into the new Google Form quiz, which is awesome. The next thing is the Classroom IC connection, and I already talked about that when we created the first class, so we have that. So those are some of the new things that came out kind of last spring that we really didn't get to have time to talk about, but I wanted to make sure that you guys were updated on that as well. All right, so that's all there is for Classroom right now, and we'll move on to Google Drive.